All righty, welcome back to an episode of Two Playing Sports. Today is Monday, May 1st. We're only a couple months away from actual regular season football, which is hard to believe. We're into May. Summer ball is right around the corner, and we're going to be talking about packing the palace for real this time, so it'll be good. So Oklahoma picked up Friday, picked up a commitment from wide receiver Zion Kearney, which that was something that we kind of been hinting at. Friend of the program, as Brandon would like to say,
Friend of the show is
Zion.
Lion Kearney, yeah. Gotta
Yes.
throw that in.
Yeah, for sure. And then Oklahoma also offered a transfer linebacker and then also had a few transfers out of the program. They lost two players over the weekend. And then they've also offered another defensive back. And then we're going to talk a little NFL draft, talk where Anton's going, how we're seeing him fitting Eric Gray.
Michael Turk.
Unfortunately, Michael Turk is a Dolphin.
Michael Turk is a Dolphin.
Yeah,
So
that's
hot.
really
Go
unfortunate.
Fish.
It's really unfortunate that he's got to go to the last place AFC East team. But anyway,
Also, we're going to talk about how the Heatles are on a collision course for the finals because they're so good this year. And no one thought they were going to be good. I didn't think they were going to be good.
No, it's fine. My Celtics will take care of it. So, anyway, let's talk about Zion Kearney.
Huh? All right, whatever. Let's go. That's what the Leprechauns suck.
Anyway, so let's talk about Zion Kearney. 6'3", 200-pound wide receiver. We've talked about him a lot. He's the number 63 overall player and the number 12 wide receiver in the class. If people have been watching our show, they probably aren't shocked about this commitment, considering on the live stream when Brandon said that Bryant Wesco was better than Zion Kearney. And then Kearney was watching, and then we were talking about who's going to commit first. And I said Kearney, Brandon said Wesco, and then you were trying to bet me, and I was like, I don't know about that. And then Zion said via Twitter,
take the bet. You to wager it.
He did.
Do a shotgun and send us a video.
Yeah, send us a video. So it's a good thing to have. So Zion Kearney pulled the trigger, joined the fold. This is really Emmett Jones. I mean, Brennan Thompson was a huge transfer, huge pickup. But I kind of feel like this is like the first one. This is the biggest one. Brennan Thompson is good, but I just think that Zion is a big fish that Emmett Jones finally got. Jose, what do you think about Emmett Jones and Zion Kearney and the way it's rolling?
Yeah, Emmett Jones is doing a fantastic job of getting Oklahoma in front of these big-time wide receivers, no matter what Brandon says about these kids. He hopefully we can get him on the show to talk about the process soon, but he is definitely going to be a big part of the offense once he gets on campus. Like, there's going to be a lot of competition in that wide receiver room, and that doesn't seem questionable at this point with the guys that came in this last cycle with Jaquez and Keon. We got Brennan Thompson there that's going to be there for a while. Nick Anderson, maybe we'll see what happens with some of the guys from the 22 class. Yeah, you're right. He is the first big guy that shows Emmett Jones was the right guy. Not that KJ isn't really good. We just haven't seen as much from him yet. He could be just as talented, if not more. We'll see. But yeah, Zion, huge pickup. Finally have more Sooners on the board. Top 25. We'll see. Do you guys think we're going to get a top 3 class this year?
I hope so. That'd be neat.
You're going to badmouth this kid again, Brennan?
I did. I
would.
Brum badmouthed him. I literally said that he was better than Bryant Wesco, and Brum said that's ridiculous on the live stream. But no, I mean, you guys are right. He's a big get. I think if you add Bryant Wesco to this class, you're done with the receivers, and that's a pretty damn good haul with KJ, Wesco, and Kearney. Kearney's got great size. He put up great numbers. Very excited to see him in the receiving room again. I hope we get him on the show because he's a friend of the program. We'd like to talk about his commitment stuff with him. Yeah, I think it's a good get, talented kid. Excited to see him on the field.
Yeah, maybe what we'll do whenever he does join the show, hopefully soon, we'll get a video clip and play it on the screen, and we can get his live reaction.
We don't need you to work your editing magic to make it look like lies.
Yeah, right. So anyway,
bust it on Apple movie or iMovie, whatever the hell it's called, and make it look like I said something I didn't.
Yeah. So anyway, but huge commitment. Oklahoma top 25 class, top 3. I hope honestly, if we can just have a top 5 class overall, I'd be happy. Even top 7 would be good. I do think that there's a lot of big targets out there that can get Oklahoma up in that range. It's just
You
a
need those
matter
D
of
linemen to start rolling in. Those 5-star D line that we're hot on the trail for.
That's the big deal, is if they can land a David Stone, which I think they can, and can they land a Nigel Smith? Can they land a Joning and those other guys? And if they can, that will set Oklahoma up to be a top 5 class. So Oklahoma also offered over the weekend a graduate transfer player his name is Connor Neer from Ferris State University, which is a Division II school. He's a 2-time national champion, 6'2", 234-pound linebacker. And he's got 2 years of eligibility, and I think what do you have, like 66 tackles,
66, 3 for loss, and a fumble recovery, or forced fumble, if I remember correctly. I read an article on Sports Illustrated.
So I do think it's interesting that Oklahoma is offered Connor Neer. I think part of it, when you sit back and think about it, the coaches have gone through all of spring. They know what they've got, and they know the limitations. They know the strengths. They know the weaknesses. And it makes you think that after having a whole spring program, they realize they need someone else in this rotation. Just maybe to keep guys fresher. Maybe the freshmen or the redshirt freshmen aren't quite ready at this point because of, it's a big transition from high school football to what Oklahoma wants to play and what Brent Venables wants his guys to do. Stutzman and Canick can't be on the field for 60 minutes week in, week out.
Well, they wouldn't be anyway. We do play offense too, dummy.
Well, you're right, dummy.
Facts straight.
But they can't play all game on defense. And Brandon, you didn't watch last year, but we saw what happened to Stutzman playing all game. It's literally, he was good about all the way till about the midway through the third quarter, and he just ran out of gas.
Maybe we need a better water boy.
It might as well have been 60 minutes because the offense couldn't keep the ball for like longer than 23 in most games. It was bad.
Yeah.
Possession.
Yeah. So anyway, I was going to say, Brandon, what do you think about Connor Neer? All this situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. You hope to get him, but I think, like we talked about before the show started, it's definitely kind of like you alluded to. It's more of a depth pickup than anything, I think. I mean, he put up solid numbers. He brings that championship pedigree to the program. Obviously, having won 2 at the D2 level, still national championships. Obviously, he's an experienced player, knows what he's doing. So I think he can help a lot of the younger guys. Maybe he can see the field as a starter on special teams. Something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's more of a depth piece, but you never know. Who knows? He might see the field if things fall his way. He's picking up some offers from some other decent programs. So, Georgia Tech, Texas Tech, West Virginia. So we're not the only ones interested in this kid. So he's obviously not too bad. Yeah, I mean, I hope he commits to just add some more competition to the team, add some more depth.
Yeah, I agree with that last part. He's being recruited by other pretty good programs. Oklahoma's definitely the highest of pedigree, or just, biggest program overall that's going after him. Up to this point, we'll see if any more offers roll in for him, but seems like he's a depth guy. Maybe he can step on the field occasionally and make some plays and start chewing up some play time from the other guys. If he were to commit to Oklahoma, I don't know if it's a guarantee that he's on the 2 deep. It would seem like he's probably more than likely, because even if Kobe McKenzie were to be ready, or is more expected to be ready, there's still reservations about Kip Lewis and how he hasn't bulked up as the coaches have expected him to. He's still a little bit light to what they would like. Shane Witter's there, but he's been there for a while. Maybe Connor can come in and beat him out for some time. But then you've got the freshmen coming in this summer. Samuel Masigo, Lewis Carter. Can they come in and compete for some time and get part of the 2 deep? So it's not a guarantee that if Connor were to commit to Oklahoma, he would be on the depth chart or be the backup for one of the linebacker positions. but you would assume that it is more likely than not. There's definitely doesn't seem like there's a chance for him to take over, because he would have to take over Danny Stutzman's spot, and that doesn't seem very likely at this point.
I think Stutz is one of those guys who's probably the most safe on the team as far as the starting spot goes.
Yep.
Oh, definitely. I don't see him losing his spot unless something bad happens as far as injury or something like that. I agree, he's the safest of all of them as far as playing time. So, but moving on, Oklahoma also offered, and this we'll be able to tie this all into the next segment of talking about the 2 transfers. But Oklahoma over the weekend offered 2024 4-star cornerback Emilio Augard, I think that's how you say it, Augard, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, from St. Joseph's Prep School. He's 5'10", 165-pound kid, and he's already released a top 5 in December of last year of Michigan, Alabama, Clemson, Penn State, Tennessee. He's currently crystal ball to Clemson with one prediction on 247. I do think it's interesting that Oklahoma decided to extend an offer to another cornerback. We can also mention Jamarian Burt and Damon Harmon hitting the transfer portal this past weekend, and then Jay Valai offers this player probably in my mind kind of as a response. I think maybe a spot more than they were anticipating might have opened up, but losing Harmon doesn't really shock me. Burt maybe a little bit. I'm a little, because that's one of Valai's guys and one of Venable's recruits. It's not the first one that they've lost already, but I do think it's interesting. Jose, what do you think?
Well, on Jamarian Burt, that one seems pretty cut and dry. That safety position is extremely competitive. Will he ever get time over guys like Peyton Bowen and Makari Vickers if he were to play safety? Like, it's going to be tough. And I think that was just the best situation for him to find a different spot to play and get an opportunity to play. I'm just going to call him Emilio. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. He's very talented. If it's a response to the guys going into the transfer portal, it might be it. But he is a 2024 guy. So it would really just seem like there's something that they really saw in him, that they're like, all right, we saw 2 guys leave to the portal. Now we have an extra spot where we can add in an extra corner, because when we went back to the looking back at the recruiting class that the 3 of us put together, we have Jalen Hardy, expected to get Eli Bowen, expected to get Michael Patterson McDonald. I'm sure there's another corner that we named.
Brandon said Kobe Black.
Kobe Black is still a very much a recruit that we're in on. There's no clear-cut leader.
Yeah, and let's just say that the perfect world, we got that 100% right. Now there's a spot because of the transfer portal entries where they can take in an Emilio. That's a possibility, taking in a 5th DB. We'll see, but he's very talented, dude. Brandon's going to rattle off the stats because he has better memory for that than I do, but he is, if you watch his highlights on his huddle, he's very entertaining to watch, and wherever he plays, and if he gets developed well, he's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I think, to start off with Harmon and Burt, I think Jose hit it right in the head. I think they both realized that they probably weren't going to get the time they wanted at Oklahoma. So they decided to hit the portal. Best for them. You wish them the best. Hopefully they find a good landing spot. Now with Emilio, his stats, his stats, man, it's like the definition of a ball hawk. Dude had 35 tackles, 15 pass breakups, and 3 interceptions. So that's a total of 18 balls that he, did not allow receivers to catch. At some point, the dude has 15 pass breakups. Why are you even targeting his side? It appears as like he's not giving that shit up with those numbers. That's I don't know the last time I've ever seen somebody with 15 pass breakups in a season. It doesn't really happen in 1 year. So that's crazy. Great stats, ball hawk. You definitely hope Oklahoma can win this recruit, because that brings that DB room's already loaded, and he's just gonna add to it. I hope OU wins out.
And it'll be interesting, Oklahoma offered, and just because they offer doesn't mean that they're going to rise to the top immediately. But the fact that he's already released a top 5, but that was in December of last year, it makes you wonder if those 5 schools have ran away with this recruitment, and this is just more of let's just offer, and maybe we have a glimmer of hope, or maybe there's more intel that while he released the top 5, maybe he really is still open to the idea of going elsewhere. Because I kind of feel like Oklahoma wouldn't waste their time if they didn't feel like that they had some sort of chance. I mean, you just don't throw an offer out just because. I mean, that's a waste of time. Go give it to someone else that you might have a shot with. So he must at least be receptive to the idea of looking outside of his top 5. Maybe he's really not down to 5.
It looks like at the moment he's a Clemson lead, and that's going to be hard to pry him out, but who knows?
If anything, Oklahoma would be the program to get him out of there because it's the closest program to Clemson.
Yeah.
It was just a different DB coach, clearly, but I mean, we'll see. It could be like it might not be that Oklahoma's been the only school that offered him between his top 5 being released and when OU did offer. Like, I'm sure a few others have, and he just doesn't put all of them out there, kind of like PJ did in last cycle. Like, he committed to Oklahoma, and people were freaking the fuck out whenever other boards would talk about, that he's leaving, or on Twitter other fan bases would say PJ's not going to stick to that Oklahoma verbal commitment. He's going to go to A&M or Texas or whatever other schools were trying to get OU fans riled up. He was still getting offers. I mean, Parker Thune said that multiple times on their live streams. I think when he came on here once, he might have mentioned it. Like, it could just be the fact that he's putting it out there is he might be more interested than other schools when it comes to Oklahoma in that top 5.
Very likely. I mean, I hope so because he's very talented. So we'll see. Since his offer's gone out, does a visit happen? But he's in Philadelphia, so it's not just an easy drive like Seattle to Norman.
Yeah, I would say Seattle, Norman, but Philly's pretty far.
Yeah, Philly's pretty far. So
always have to go take
anyway,
and see the Liberty Bell and stuff, and then see the Liberty Bell, go pay him a visit, and the Rocky statue. What else is there to do in Philly besides the Rocky statue and the Liberty Bell?
Cheesesteak.
I don't know. I've never been to Philly before.
Cheesesteak, yeah. That might be the end of video challenge. No, just birthday, guys. Shit to do in Philadelphia. I've never been, but if we ever decide to go to Philadelphia, we can have some comments what we should do besides the obvious. The Rocky statue, the bell, and the cheesesteaks.
All right, there it is. There's the challenge. So, I've never been to Philly, but just a short drive to Seattle, but a long flight to Philly. But anyway, before we move on to the final segment of the show, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below.
Hey, the Bruins lost.
All right. Yeah, they did.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, the Bruins.
Number 1 Bruins.
They did.
Season ends in first round of Stanley Cup playoffs with a 4-3 Game 7 loss to Panthers. They blew a 3-1 lead. That's tough.
They did.
As the president's whatever.
I hate to see it.
You love to see it.
President's Trophy winner.
Someone go check Boston Connor's Twitter.
So moving on to the last segment, the NFL draft happened over this weekend. Coach B, again, getting his guys paid. Anton Harrison going to the first round of the Jaguars. Wanya Morris going to the third round to the Chiefs. Brandon, I feel like when it was just you and me, I felt like we talked about the Chiefs taking one of those tackles.
We did, because that's what I was telling. I thought it was Jose. I couldn't remember, but yeah, we talked about the Chiefs because they lost Orlando Brown, and the idea we had was they have to keep that 2 center front, and in order to do so, you have to draft Wanya Morris, and it hit. Similar to the Creed Humphrey thing, like Creed was drafted late in the second, but Wanya was late in the third, just around later, but same team. I mean, Creed and Wanya are in pretty good spots. They'll be playing January football for the foreseeable future, at least January and beyond.
Yeah. And another one was Marvin Mims going in the late, in the middle of the second or late second round.
He was like the last pick of the second,
last
I think.
Pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, last pick, 63rd.
Was Creed the last pick
overall.
of the second round when he went?
Creed was, in fact, the last pick of whatever round.
That's a good omen.
Yeah, he was 64th because the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, or maybe they were 63rd. I can't remember. But anyway, so yeah, Marvin Mims, Sean Payton decided that Marvin Mims was a fit for him. I felt like Mims could go in the second all the way down to the fourth, and he just snuck in at the end of the second round. But really, the biggest shock to me, or I was surprised, I guess, is I couldn't believe that Chris Murray went undrafted.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he should have been a, day one or maybe even a day two guy. But I'm surprised that he wasn't drafted 4 through 7. Did you guys have any thoughts on that, or any kind of stuff that kind of surprised you about the draft?
Similar to Chris Murray, I thought it was surprising that 3 punters got drafted over Michael Turk. I feel as if Michael Turk is the best punter in the draft. I mean, I'll take it because now he plays for the best team in the land. But your dumbass Patriots picked a punter, and you didn't take Turk. You took that nerd from Michigan State. That guy's not even good.
This entire draft was honestly pretty fucking boring. It seemed like every GM except for the Eagles GM decided they're going to make it as hard as humanly possible to build a good football team. And the Eagles GM just said, you know what? I'm going to take the best player from the best defense in the college football over the last 2 years for every pick. He got Jalen Carter somehow. I know that they were leading up to the draft. Every insider was talking about how he might fall a little bit, but he wasn't getting out of the top 10. Almost got there. The Eagles had to trade up 1 spot to get him. Whatever. Then at the end of the first round, they get Nolan Smith because everyone else said, nah, he's not good enough, even though he played for the best defense in the country. They get him, then they managed to get Keely Ringo at the beginning of the third, and there was felt like 10 corners taken before him. He might not be the best corner, but he was the number 1 corner on the number 1 defense. Probably pretty good. I don't know. With Oklahoma, though, Chris Murray was surprising. Glad that Eric Gray did get picked. That one easily could have gone to an undrafted free agent situation if it wasn't for the Jets pick or the Giants stepping up and taking him. And who knows, maybe it's because of the Saquon stuff where he wants a long-term deal and they might just get him for a year with the franchise tag. Who else? Anton. Excited for him to be the first-round pick. I was a little nervous there towards the end. I wasn't sure if he was gonna be taken in the first round, but I guess there's some stuff going on in Jacksonville with their tackles, and they need one that's more NFL ready sooner rather than later. So they took Anton, who, might be a starter day 1 there for Jacksonville. Not a bad place to be with the AFC South being so bad and Jacksonville seemingly the best team there.
I think most of the Sooners drafted ended up in pretty damn good spots. Obviously with Wanya Morris, ended up in a great spot. You've got Anton. I think he's got a good possibility to start for an up-and-coming Jaguars team. I think Braden Wilson, the 7th round guy to the Niners, is going to look back on as one of the steals of the drafts. I think Braden Willis, what he brings to the game, playing with a guy like Kyle Shanahan and how he draws up offensive plays and stuff. Kittle, I'm not saying he's old, but he's not going to be there forever. I think Braden Willis really hit the jackpot getting drafted to San Fran. I think he can have a very, very good career there. I think Jalen Redmond going undrafted, similar to Chris Murray, is pretty surprising. I'm kind of with you, bro. I didn't think he was going to be a day 1 or 2 guy, but really shocked he didn't go somewhere 6 or 7 at least. And with Jalen Redmond, his on-the-field play is never the issue. I think it's his availability that hurts him. I think Minnesota got a pretty good pickup in C.J. Colden. He should have an opportunity to make that team there in mini. Overall, I think the guys ended up in pretty good spots. Hopefully they have a pretty successful NFL run, all of them.
Marvin Mims got the shit out of the deal. He's got to deal with Mr. Unlimited.
Well, the thing with if Russell Wilson can become Russell Wilson again, and maybe Sean Payton can revitalize him, then Marvin Mims is in a pretty good spot, and he should be probably at least the number 3 receiver on that team. He'll probably start out behind Jerry Jeudy and whatever his name. What is it, Tim Hamilton or some shit? Or Tim Patrick.
Sutton and Tim Patrick.
Quillen Sutton, forgot he's there. Yeah, so he's probably 3 or 4. if he could beat out one of those guys. But I don't know. I think they're all in pretty decent spots at least. I think Braden Willis is the one who got the best possible situation of all the Sooners. I think Braden Willis probably by a close second to Wanye Morris as far as most ideal situations.
And Braden Willis also, with thinking about Kyle Juszczyk being there with the 49ers, he is an opt-out after this season. So if he does indeed decide to opt out, they're probably thinking, well, can Willis play that role? And I feel like Willis, we've seen him, the wild Willie cat and everything else. I mean,
he's kind of a Swiss Army knife when it comes to what he can do on the offensive side of the ball.
He's definitely going to need to pack on some pounds to play on that for that offense, because he will be asked to block a lot, and he's a good blocker, but he's blocking huge men now, not just college players.
No, that is true. I mean, he's going to have the money to be able to eat, so it'll be good. So, but anyway, Eric Gray, I think he ended up in a really good spot with Brian Dable. And if Saquon does indeed decide to leave or they don't sign him, maybe he does get a better role. I'm just glad that he got drafted. I was hoping that he wouldn't kind of be like a Kennedy Brooks, but it seemed like that this draft as a whole kind of had we went back to the mid 2000s where we were having 2 top 10 running backs go, or not 2 top, they weren't top 10, excuse me, top 15 running backs. Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen, there's been years where we don't even have a first round running back. And then we have 2 in the top 15, which I don't know what
I think
Detroit.
Both were a bit of a reach, though. I think Atlanta picking Bijan at 8, like there's nothing against Bijan. He's clearly a very good player. I'm glad we don't have to see him anymore. But Atlanta is a team that has a lot of needs. They're not a very good program. And last year they had they were a top 10 rushing offense in the league. And the guy they had on the team last year as a rookie was pretty darn good. And they drafted Bijan top 8. I think they had some way bigger needs than running back, but whatever. And who was it? Detroit with the Alabama. I can't think of his name. I feel like
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, I feel like Gibbs would have been there in the second round, potentially even the third. That to get him. Bless you, host.
Yeah, he did. They did trade up because they traded back and then they traded back up. But
it was weird to see.
I don't know. It was just interesting, and I wonder if that played a role in Eric Gray getting drafted in the 5th round. But talented kid, so I'm excited. A lot of good places to go, and if you want to be an offensive lineman or a wide receiver, come play at Oklahoma, especially offensive lineman.
Offensive lineman, man.
Coach
There's
B's
no
gonna
better place.
Hazelwood as an Eagle. Who knows? Maybe he'll make the roster.
Was he undrafted?
Yeah, he was an undrafted pickup for the Eagles, but he'll get to reconnect with Jalen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. So, but that's all I've got. Unless you guys have any final thoughts.
Oh, also shout out OU softball winning the Big 12. I think regular season title for feels like the 35th year in a row. And OU baseball.
That men's golf.
Yeah.
Men's golf won it.
Golf, and then you got OU baseball. They picked up a series dub today over Kansas. Speaking of the baseball team, did you guys see what Kendall Pettis did today?
Yeah, pretty good snag there. Seal home run.
Pretty damn cool. You can probably see it on OU's Twitter, but he brought back a home run. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
I think I have a better video challenge for you, Bonnet.
All right, go ahead, steal it. But you can still please comment what to do in Philly, because now I'm curious.
I can't remember what school it was, but some school is playing a volleyball game in their football stadium.
Nebraska.
And they actually sold it out. Was it Nebraska? Or they're doing a pretty good job at selling out the seats for the volleyball game. Patty Gasso, that was brought up to Patty's attention. She said she's going to she's got to talk to Joe Castiglione about it. So maybe we all just tweet at Joe C and say, hey, man, what are we doing? Let's get the softball team in the Palace. Because that would be very fun to watch. I don't know how they'd manage it. Probably going to have to be later in the season, sometime after the spring game, but that'd be pretty fun to watch. The Palace get packed for the softball team.
Be awesome.
That, and if they can, make the field work, I assume they will be able to with it. So.
You can always make it work somehow.
Yeah. So, all right, we made it this far. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below. And we will catch you guys Wednesday.